Fulton County District Attorney Fanni Willis is in retreat mode after what Donald Trump's legal team, led by the Pitbull, did. All right, so former President Donald Trump's legal team, Steve the Pitbull Sadow and Jennifer Little, have just schooled Fanni Willis yet again by filing a supplemental brief supporting the dismissal of 2 counts against him in the Georgia election interference case. In a legal move that some Donald Trump supporters are calling a genius strategy, the brief argues that the state of Georgia cannot punish someone for committing a crime in a federal judiciary, like lying under oath, because that falls under the jurisdiction of the federal government, not the state. Offering her expert perspective, former US Attorney Joyce Vance speculated about how the Fulton County District Attorney might react to the former president's latest legal move. She called Steve Sadow's legal theory novel and said that it looked like a delay tactic, something that could work in Donald Trump's favor, considering how he could win the presidency in November and then take care of all of this then. Now, Vance also predicted that Willis's response to this new brief is likely to be very dismissive, meaning Fanni Willis could be in full retreat mode. What makes me say that? Well, for starters, the media outlets have been trying to reach Fanni Willis's office about this, but the Fulton County DA has yet to return her comment on the matter. Now, could this be because she realized her mistake in trying to prosecute former President Donald Trump? Another sign of Willis's retreat? Well, she declined an invitation from the Atlanta Press Club to debate her Democratic opponent as she seeks a second term. And she even used the Donald Trump trial as her reason for doing so, saying that her participation means likely repeatedly being unable to respond to questions, as well as risking saying something that the defense counsel could make an issue of in the ongoing litigation. Translation: Fanni Willis is scared that her words are going to be used against her, kind of like what was done to her with her church speech, where she used the race card in order to attempt to earn some sympathy from the people. Last but not least, Fanni Willis has asked the appeals court to reject Donald Trump's latest efforts to see her thrown off of the Georgia case. So her office basically asked the appeals court to reject former President Donald Trump's request to reconsider a ruling last month that will allow Fulton County District Attorney Fanni Willis to continue leading the case into his attempts to interfere with the 2020 election in the state. Now, if she's asking the appeals court to do that, does that mean that she's not confident in her chances to beat Donald Trump in the appeal? Well, let's go ahead and explore this and the whole legal landscape of Donald Trump's Georgia case all in today's video, all right? You guys ready for this? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and dive right in. So first, here's a quick rundown of the genius move that Donald Trump's legal team made. Check this out.
New at 6, former President Trump's legal team has filed a supplemental brief supporting the dismissal of 2 counts against him in the Georgia election interference case. According to the brief, the state of Georgia can't punish someone for committing a crime in a federal judiciary, like lying under oath, because that falls under the jurisdiction of the federal government, not the state. Count 15 alleges a conspiracy to fine. Count 27 alleges the filing of false documents in an exclusive federal tribunal, the U.S. District Court for the Northern District, not in a public record or court of the state of Georgia.
So let me go ahead and break this down for you guys. So basically, the new brief coming from Donald Trump's legal team, Steve Sadow and Jennifer Little, in the Georgia election interference case, is asking for the court to throw out 2 counts against our former president in the Georgia election interference case. And like many Donald Trump supporters have said, Steve the Pitbull Sadow is not one to be reckoned with. They say that the Pitbull is a legal genius, and yes, Donald Trump for life. So according to the brief from Steve Sadow and Little, the state of Georgia cannot punish someone for committing a crime in a federal judiciary, like lying under oath, because that falls under the jurisdiction of the federal government, not the state. Now, this supports the dismissal of 2 counts against former President Donald Trump in the Georgia election case. Count 15 alleges a conspiracy to fine, and count 27 alleges the filing of false documents in an exclusive federal tribunal, the United States District Court for the Northern District, not in a public record or court of the state of Georgia. And they even got legal precedents to bolster their case even further. The brief cites the case in Ray Loney 134 US 372 1890 in its argument. In simple terms, the court ruled in this case that the charges contravened federal law, not the state law. So even though state law might seem to allow for prosecution in the state court, it cannot be enforced because only the federal government has the power to do so. Therefore, the charges related to those actions have to be dropped. The brief also cites another case from the 1800s, Ross versus State, 55 Georgia 192 1875. In that case, the Georgia Supreme Court ruled that the offense contained in the document was an offense against the public justice of the United States, not just against the state of Georgia. A more recent case from 2008 was also used to bolster Trump's argument. In People versus Hassan, 86 Cal RPTR 314 328-24 2008, the state of California was prohibited from prosecution in a case related to false documents provided in connection with a federal immigration investigation. So Fanni Willis is accusing Donald Trump of directing a conspiracy to spread false claims about voter fraud, pressure state officials to overturn Biden's win, and promote a corrupt plan to win the state's 16 electoral college votes by appointing a slate of fake electors. So Trump and 18 others were indicted in August of 2023 of interfering in the 2020 Georgia presidential election. 4 of Donald Trump's co-defendants have entered guilty pleas and have made deals with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. But thanks to the effort of Donald Trump's attorney, Steve Sadow, and Jennifer Little, some of the charges against Donald Trump and the others have already been dropped. Just last month, McAfee dismissed 6 counts of violation of oath by a public officer, including 3 against the former president, saying those counts didn't spell out clearly how actions violated the law. The 35 remaining counts include racketeering, false statements in writings, impersonating a public officer, conspiring to commit computer theft, perjury, and forgery. Fulton County's DA Fanni Willis was hoping to bring Donald Trump and the remaining defendants to trial in August of this year. But the trial got delayed because of the controversy that they uncovered about Willis's relationship with her former special prosecutor Nathan Wade, and because of the numerous motions that have been filed in connection to the case. So right now, we don't know when Donald Trump may go on trial in Georgia. They could very well possibly even put this off until after the election. Then we'll just see where they'll be with Donald Trump possibly being the next president by then. And hey, Fanni Willis didn't get to where she is without having a little bit of political savvy herself, right? That's probably why she's in full retreat mode right now. For starters, they asked about this new brief filing from Donald Trump's legal team. A spokesperson for Fanni Willis declined to comment. Could it be because they're scared that they're going to lose? Former US Attorney Joyce Vance seems to think so. Writing in her Substack blog, Civil Discourse, Vance speculated about how the Fulton County District Attorney might react to the former president's latest legal move. Now, according to her, Fanni Willis is likely to be very dismissive about the attempt by Donald Trump to drop 2 charges in his Georgia election interference case. Commenting on the legal move made by Sadow and Little, Vance called his theory novel and said that it looked like a delay tactic. And like I said a little bit earlier, a delay in the case is probably in Donald Trump's favor if he's going to win the presidency later on, right? So Vance says that she'll look forward to Fanni Willis's response, which she said is likely to be very dismissive. Donald Trump's supporters put it more bluntly, saying Fanni will pay the price for her stupidity. And just in case you guys are wondering, they also reached out to Fanni Willis for comment on this from Joyce Vance, but surprise, surprise, no comment from Fanni Willis's office. And hey, I get it. I mean, like, if Donald Trump is successful in getting charges dropped with this new brief from Sadow and from Little, it would not be for the first time that they've actually shown Fanni Willis dropping the ball in this Georgia case against the former president. In March, Judge Scott McAfee squashed 3 counts against former President Donald Trump in this case. He wrote that the lack of detail concerning an essential legal element is, in the undersigned opinions, fatal. While Trump wrangles with this Georgia case, he also faces the 2nd week in his hush money trial, which will determine whether or not he falsified business records regarding payments allegedly facilitated by his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, to former adult film star Stormy Daniels. Now, it's claimed that these were made to keep an affair between Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels a secret before the 2016 elections, as alleged in a criminal indictment. Donald Trump denies the affair. He's also facing 2 other indictments, a federal indictment about alleged election interference and one regarding the manner in which he kept classified documents after leaving the White House. He's also maintained his innocence in all the other cases. Now, considering all of this, it's kind of hard not to see election interference and the political witch hunt Donald Trump and his team have been claiming all along. And hey, props to our former president for standing up to all this. It's just plain amazing how they just keep trying to throw cases at this man and he just keeps on hitting them out of the park, you know? Now, of course, it sure doesn't hurt to have the Pitbull, Sadow on your legal team, right? In fact, some are already claiming Steve Sadow should be an attorney general in the new Trump administration. And where will Fulton County DA Fani Willis be? Probably still in full retreat mode after her loss to Donald Trump in Georgia. More to come on this one, guys. Fulton County DA Fani Willis declining a campaign debate and her office asking the appeals court to reject Donald Trump's appeal to get her disqualified. Now, the look into Fani Willis' retreat continues in this video, so don't go away, guys. But first, just a real quick word from, not from our sponsors, but from me. I just want to say thank you guys so much for always watching these videos, and a double thanks for always lighting up the like button. I totally appreciate the support, you guys. And I appreciate every one of you guys on the channel. I cannot believe how much our channel has grown. Now, if you haven't already, I highly recommend making it official. Hit the subscribe button and tap that notification bell for more legal analysis and takedowns just like this one. Now, speaking of, let's continue with this one right now. So yeah, another sign of Fani Willis's retreat, her refusal to debate her Democratic opponent as she seeks a second term. Now, with Fani Willis getting hits to her reputation with the Donald Trump Georgia case, challengers have risen up to oppose her in re-election campaign as Fulton County DA. Christian Y. Smith, a fellow Democrat, and Courtney Kramer, a Republican. But Fani Willis said no to a debate against Smith and said it is because of the high-profile cases that her office is currently handling, including the election case and the ongoing trial of Atlanta rapper Young Thug. Now, according to the statement from her office, Willis's participation means likely repeatedly being unable to respond to questions, as well as risking saying something that the defense counsel could make an issue with during an ongoing litigation. Critics say it's just Fani Willis trying to hide from the questions that they could ask about her relationship with the former lover and legal hire Nathan Wade. And speaking of, that's another thing that Willis is trying to get away with. So recently, the Fulton County DA tried asking the court to reject Donald Trump's latest legal effort to see her thrown off of the Georgia case because of said relationship. So Donald Trump and his co-defendants, they're arguing that Fani Willis was in an inappropriate relationship with a special prosecutor on the case, Nathan Wade, that created a conflict of interest. But Judge Scott McAfee ruled that there was no such conflict last month and allowed Fani Willis to proceed, although he added that Wade must remove himself from the case in order for it to move forward. So Donald Trump and his co-defendants submitted an application for an appeal weeks later, saying that McAfee was wrong and that his decision confounds logic. But Willis asked the state's appeals court to throw out the request by Donald Trump and his co-defendants, saying that there's simply no trial court error to be found in the decision to deny disqualification. So basically, it's Willis trying to say that she wants the appeals shut down, period. But of course, we're living in America now where people have a right to due process. And you can be sure that we'll be keeping an eye on this to make sure that Donald Trump gets his. So what do you guys think? Is Fani Willis finally going to go down? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments down below. More on this and the news that matters to you in the next one. I'll see you guys there. Take care.